Hi, everyone. My name is Sunny Mullen. I'm the Director of Outreach with Help Hope Live. Thank you all for joining us today for our Hope Talk, Life is Better, Staying Active. We are honored to be joined today by the Kelly Brush Foundation, as well as the newest member of our outreach team, Andy Zimmer. And we are here today to talk about the benefits of staying active post spinal cord injury. So I will throw it to our guests for some intros, and then we will get started talking about the Kelly Brush Foundation and all that they offer and the wonderful programs that they have out there to help the community stay active. And just so everyone knows, in case you aren't familiar as to why you're here today, Help Hope Live is a national nonprofit that allows individuals living with spinal cord injuries and all types of major medical conditions to safely and supportively fundraise within their communities for all of their medical and related expenses, such as adaptive fitness and all of these activities we'll be talking about today. So if you have any interest or any concerns, anything that you might want to learn more about, please reach out to us at helphopelive.org and or the Kelly Brush Foundation, and they'll be sharing all of their contact information as well. Today, also throughout our webinar, this will be recorded and will live on our YouTube page. And we also have a Q&A section and a chat section available for you. So to no avail, let's get it started and introduce some friends. So I will introduce Andy, if you'd like to give an introduction real quick.
Sure. My name is Andy Zimmer. Like Sunny said, I'm the newest addition to the team at Help Hope Live. Specifically, I help out with the spinal cord injury outreach. I actually have a spinal cord injury myself. I was injured in September of 2005, so a little bit over 20 years ago. Sunny, do you want me to just kind of go into my history with adaptive activities and stuff like that now, or do you want us to get through the intros?
Let's introduce our friends and we'll come back to you and we
Sounds
can
like
hear
a
your story
plan.
a little bit. Awesome. So, Meg, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Meg. I'm the partner and content manager with the Kelly Brush Foundation. I'm excited to introduce the Active Project to you guys today. And if you have any questions, we can answer anything you may have.
Wonderful. And Amy?
I'm muted. I'm Amy Rixon. I am the program and research director at the KBF. I oversee all of the admin and operations behind our physical and grant programs and our research work.
Wonderful. And last but absolutely not least, Dianne.
Hey everyone, I'm Dianne Vitkus. I am an adaptive athlete. I live in Charlestown, Massachusetts, and I'm really passionate about helping people with spinal cord injuries stay active and connected. I was injured in July of 2020, and I think like so many others, once I left rehab, I was just really determined to figure out how to live a life that still felt fun but adventurous and like physically engaging. And Kelly Brush Foundation played a huge role in that. Their programs, their scholarships, their grants, their community really supported me in every step of that journey. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about more about that.
Awesome. Well, before we get into all of that, like we had said before, I'd love, Andy, for you to share your story a little bit more and to share about how you have been staying active post your injury.
Sure. So as I mentioned, I've been injured for a little bit over 20 years. The thing that I love to do the most in terms of an adaptive activity or sport is playing wheelchair rugby. And I've been doing it basically since the day I was discharged from the hospital. It was kind of a funny story. About a month before I actually had my accident and broke my neck, I went to see this movie in the movie theaters. It was a documentary called Murder Ball, and it was all about wheelchair rugby and Team USA's um, path towards the Paralympics. And I went there with a couple of buddies on a day off and saw it. And we all thought it was amazing. And I walked out of the theater and I was like, man, that was awesome. If I was ever in a wheelchair, I would totally play that sport. And about a month later, I got hit by a car and I broke my neck. I was like, well, okay, I guess I'm going to play that sport now. So I actually went to my first wheelchair rugby practice like a week after I was discharged from inpatient. At the time, I was still wearing my neck brace at the practice. My mother was absolutely terrified. But I think getting involved and staying involved with that community was probably the most important thing that I could have done for my post-injury life. I still play wheelchair rugby to this day. I play for the University of Michigan team, but I have a whole host of kind of adaptive stuff that I love doing, whether it's skiing or skydiving, camping. I love going to music festivals. I know for me, I think like the obvious benefit of being involved in this stuff is like physical and mental health. But as I reflect on my time and the things that I've done, definitely some of my best friends in the world are people that I've met through these different communities. And I think when you're newly injured, like it's like relearning life again. And I think getting plugged into this community of people quickly really helped me like relearn how to live, and like take the reins of my independence and kind of have that support network for troubleshooting all the things that are going on and all the stuff you're trying to figure out in life. I think it gave me a lot of confidence for how I want to represent and carry myself in public, how I want to talk about my disability and kind of interact with, not I guess the disabled community and just the world at large. The people that I rely on for my medical equipment and all that stuff are all people that I've met through adaptive sports. It's given me the opportunity to travel the world, and has helped me develop the kind of the skills and experience so that all of these trips are adventures and not nightmares. So you just have that comfort level with like just getting out and doing it. And I also think that it really has helped me to understand the value of my perspective and point of view when it comes to contributing with whatever I am involved with, whether it's work or a peer group or just talking with somebody at the grocery store. So, one of the things that I tell anyone who's newly injured that I talk to is like, whether it's an adaptive sport or adaptive activity, like find the thing that moves you and get involved with it, because that thing and those people are gonna be what sustains you as you're trying to navigate through all this stuff. So
that's amazing. Yeah. Well, I think I can probably speak for your mother after hearing the list of sports that you rattled off, that she is probably still terrified and always will be as a good mother.
Yeah,
no matter what. Yeah. But I'm so lucky that you're now part of our Help Hope Live team and here to open our eyes to a lot more of this experience. So thank you for sharing that. Meg, I'll pass it off to you for you guys to talk about Kelly Brush and your project that you have, the Active Project. And I know the first time we spoke, and I'll give you some time if you want to bring up your screen, the first time we spoke and you explained all the different programs and the peer-to-peer support and all that you guys do. I know we were just talking about a mountain biking trip that you guys took. It just sounds like such an amazing community you've built. So I'm excited to hear more about it.
Thank you guys so much. I'm just going to get access really quick on sharing my screen, and then I can get started. But Andy, I just wanted to segue that into our presentation a little bit. You said exactly the reasons kind of why we started what we do, and that we provide grants exactly the same way that you were kind of explaining why it's so important to be active. So I really appreciate you kind of starting us off with sharing that. And I will share my screen now. Can everyone see my screen?
We can.
Wonderful. All right, Diane, why don't we, since Amy and I have introduced ourselves, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit more?
Yeah, hey everyone. Again, so I was the hospital implementation coordinator, and last year for the Kelly Brush Foundation, really worked on implementing the active project into hospitals and rehabs. I'm super passionate about just adaptive sports and all that it can provide, especially to someone who's newly injured. I really used adaptive sport as a way for like another hour of physical therapy in my like when I was first injured. So if you only get 3 hours of PT or OT a day, but I can get another hour of like rec therapy, then that's a way that I could get stronger. And then that I got on a bike and and I don't think the first experience of getting on a bike is ever like I don't know, it's kind of like a mix of because it's very different from what you felt able-bodied, but I used it, you know, to get stronger. And then the more and more you're on it, and then your kind of mindset shifts to, okay, well, actually, this is like something I can see myself doing, or it's not just about getting stronger, it's about finding friends and community and getting outside in nature and all those other things. So I think the first step is the hardest, but then it opens up so many doors and really has significantly changed my life. And now I like can't imagine adaptive sport and not being in my life. And so I really love sharing that message and helping others kind of find that.
Wonderful. Thanks, Diane.
Yeah.
Great. Amy, do you want to take it
Yeah,
away?
so the Kelly Brush Foundation started when our founder, Kelly, was in college. She was a sophomore in college and was an NCAA ski racer, skiing for Middlebury College out of Vermont. Kelly is from Vermont. And she was at a ski race and she fell and she crashed into a lift tower and sustained a T6-7 spinal cord injury. It was a preventable injury. The safety precautions that could have been placed were not in place. And so she acquired this injury and her teammates rallied behind her and they all biked 100 miles to fundraise money for her to buy a new mono ski and a new hand cycle. And they were absolutely overwhelmed with the support and they had so much to give. And so the goal of KBF is to give to others what her teammate and her family gave to her. And so 20 years since KBF had that first bike ride. This is the 20th ride this past year. And since then, we've given over 2,000 grants, over $6 million, hundreds receiving scholarships and attending camps. We have tens of thousands of people on the active project, and we have a ski racing safety initiative that's helping increase safety in ski racing for people across the country. So we have our flagship program is our equipment grants, and we have a scholarship program as kind of a pathway. So when you think about adaptive sports, for folks that want with spinal cord injury that want to get involved, these are the financial supports that we can have to reduce some of the barriers to getting active. So let's say you're really inspired by Andy's story about rugby, and you hear Dianne played rugby for the first time this year, and you're like, heck yeah, I want to get me some rugby. So you can apply to a scholarship, and you can try out your first rugby tournament or your first rugby season's practices, or let's say you want to try skiing, you want to try out a hand cycle, you want to know what the right fit is, where's the right fit. A scholarship can reimburse travel or program fees up to $500 to help you get involved. And then once you're like, heck yeah, this is my favorite sport, I'm ready for my new defensive rugby chair. What the heck? It costs over $9,000. Someone help me out here. Apply to the KBF active fund, but I'm just going to say equipment grant. We have active going on too many in our names. So you can apply for an equipment grant, and we can help you purchase the cost of that cost prohibitive sports equipment. So these
And I
are
will say, I just gotta chime in. I also I got a scholarship, and I went to my first wheelchair rugby tournament through the scholarship, and that was last year at the went to travel to Kentucky, and was able to participate in my first wheelchair rugby tournament. And since then, I've been to two more tournaments, and just gone like so in love with rugby, and thanks to the Kelly Brush scholarship. So that was something I definitely utilized, and I recommend everyone utilizing that. I also received one for to go to the Empower SCI trip to Montana, and I tried the Nuke mountain bike for the first time and went fishing with incredible equipment designed by Camp Bull Whale. So two experiences that I wouldn't have been able to do without those scholarships.
So it sounds like we might have to start a Help Hope Live rugby team soon, is what we're getting at.
And really don't sleep on those scholarships if you're eligible for one. I know it can be really exciting to get you're like, I'm all revved up. I want to get started. I want to get going. Someone get me my first hand cycle. But really take the time to get that extra step to try out that scholarship experience. It's right here waiting for you. We just want to make sure that you're doing an activity that really fits you and getting equipment that really makes sense for you and your lifestyle. There's so much out there, and we have the resources and we have the information that we want to help you be independent and successful. So please stay in touch if you have any questions about these two grant programs.
Amy, I want to chime in real quick just because I was having a conversation with someone on Friday, honestly, about wanting to get into adaptive sports.
Yeah.
And she didn't know how because of the fact that as your grant states, which a lot of grants might, that you need experience to be able to get that grant. So this scholarship seems like such a great way for people to really get that entry. Yeah,
exactly. Come on, guys, get a scholarship.
Yeah. That really, it's wonderful that you have that scholarship open, because it seemed like this person was hitting a lot of those barriers, and that the chicken and the egg, you need the experience to be able to get the grant, but how do you get the experience if you can't get the grant? And so this is a great opportunity. Absolutely. Thank you guys for offering those scholarships.
Of course. And so now that you guys know it exists, your question is, okay, how do I even get to this point where I'm ready to need $500? And that's where Megan comes in.
Perfect. And that's exactly why we created this active project, is just to connect everyone nationwide about different programs, different places to recreate, different events going on, everything in one place. So I will connect this now moving forward. If you guys want to scan this QR code, I'll leave it up for a few minutes. Or maybe a few seconds. I always run it by way too quick. So I'll give a second to scan this, and then I'll pull up my screen and I'll do a little tutorial of the active project. Wonderful. All right. Great. I'll just make this full screen. Wonderful. So I'm sure everybody has heard of the Active Project, right? But if you haven't heard of it yet, it's a digital home for adaptive sports. So it has all resources targeted towards adaptive sport resources nationwide. And the goal of this platform is really to be a resource for anyone and everybody. As Amy said before, the scholarships and grants are primarily for individuals with spinal cord injuries, but the Active Project is for everyone. So it has resources really marketed and showcased for individuals with spinal cord injuries, but we're working on broadening that vision for everyone with physical disabilities. Let's move forward. If you click the sports page, there's up to 50 different sport education pages on here. And it's really neat. You can kind of either explore other sports that you may want to know a little bit more about, or dive into sports that you're really familiar with and kind of broaden your education on that specific sport. I'll start with fishing.
I love that birding was on there.
Yeah, I know. We just did an Active Project Live about birding. I'll go into that in a little bit, but it's
awesome.
really neat. Yeah. Sports that you might not think, oh, that's a sport.
Yeah.
You can learn more about it and get active outside. So here's fishing. And what's neat about this is every single sport page is displayed a little bit differently. But how we like to showcase it is showing different equipment options or different educational videos to really know how to do it, what to get involved, tips and tricks, transfer techniques, etc. of things that may be helpful, using an adaptation that you might not try yet, how to really set it up for different techniques. And as I said earlier, Active Project Live, we do different discussion groups and we showcase these videos on each sport page. So we have about hour-long discussions bi-weekly about different recreational topics hosted by Dianne. And they're really neat because we get experts across the country to come in and talk about the sport and really showcase what users want to hear.
Mm-hmm. And
as you
by all different like experts, whether that be program directors or coaches or athletes themselves who are very experienced or brand new to sport. So it really just allows for a fun conversation about like the sport that we're talking about for people to learn, but also people who are already involved to like find that community because a lot of times we'll have people from all across the country tune in and then off like you don't get a chance usually to like have that conversation when you live in California, but then to talk to someone in Massachusetts. So it's really a great way to stay connected and find community. And virtually is such an awesome opportunity for that. And yeah.
Thanks, Diane. It definitely is. It's neat to kind of see unique communities coming together to really brainstorm such awesome topics. Moving forward, we have an event calendar. And this event calendar is nationwide, so you can type in your zip code near you and it will populate events going on. I also think it's a cool technique. So if you're traveling, you can find out in that area what's going on and maybe you could attend a different program or a different interest of hobby that you may want to try. Another thing that Amy highlighted,
if you're like, or you can filter by sport. So if you're like, I know I want to get into skiing, where is there a place like a learn to ski event that I could go to? And you're like, oh, look at this. There's a ladies session #1 in Crested Butte at the Adapt Sports Center, and then you can see that, and then there's an event served right for you to apply to for a scholarship.
Yeah, that's a great connection to that.
And people ask us about camps a lot because our KBF camps are super fun, but there's only a couple of them every year. So there are camps across the country everywhere, not just KBF ones. So this is the Sitbird Advanced Monoski Camp at Snowbird in Utah. So if you're an advanced, this is an advanced one, so it wouldn't be eligible for a scholarship. But if you're interested in a camp, KBF or otherwise, an event is a good place to find those.
Well, if they aren't eligible for a scholarship, that is what Help Hope Live can help them fundraise toward. So we are all helping one way or another, whether it's a scholarship or coming in to fundraise toward the camp and then the equipment that they learn how to use at that camp.
Exactly. And that's exactly why we have the Grant Finder, which we have Help Hope Live on the Grant Finder as well, which is so nice to have you guys on here supporting other individuals recreate, which is nice, but it's up to 70 different grant opportunities on here. So Amy said this before, but sometimes grants are or equipment is very expensive. So KBF can help fund part of an equipment, and you can always use other grants to help cover those additional fees. On here, you can type in what best meets your need based off your disability or your requirements or what you're really seeking for that grant. Once you click certain things, check off what doesn't fit you, what fits you, it populates that. And then you can kind of go from there and search through them to find out the best grant that fits your needs. What's really neat is you click on here and it brings you directly to that grant site. So then you learn exactly where to apply, how to apply, when the grant cycle is open. So all the information's directly to there. Moving forward, on our community, we have our member map, and I think this is one of the coolest features on the platform. This connects users, programs, and events nationwide, and you can really seek everything on this member map. By having access to this member map, you do have to create an account, and it is free to create an account. So it's not any charge by being able to access these features. On here, though, you can really find different programs, different users, things that are going on near you. So it's everything in one place. On here, you can also message users. So if you click and see, oh, they're interested in hunting, I want to message them, you can message them on the platform. Every user is a little bit different. You can kind of pick what you'd like other people to see. So you can click here and send them a message on the platform and learn a little bit about them. As I said, you can pick and choose what you want to be shown to the community.
This was really the portion when we first spoke, and to see this peer-to-peer platform that you have really was the most overwhelming opportunity to be able to bring the community together and to create that community. Like Dianne said, someone from California could be speaking to someone from Massachusetts without ever having to leave their house is really amazing. And we already know that when someone unfortunately finds themselves part of this community, the isolation starts from day one. So you guys are really working to really help bring that problem in a better place. And I just really appreciate seeing that.
Yeah, we hope so. And that's our goal, is really just connecting people. That it's a tricky community to navigate sometimes, but when you have that resources and it's everything right in front of you, we really hope it makes it a little bit easier. And it's also nice because you can really highlight specific things. So say I want to see just basketball programs and users and events. You can just kind of highlight that here on the side. And Sunny, how you were saying before, it's really neat because people can highlight their grants that they've received or equipment that they own on their profile. So if you've received assistance from Help Hope Live, add that to your profile so then others can ask you questions about it. And if you have a bike, say you have a bowhead, add it to your profile and others can chat with you about that. On here, you can enter in the equipment that you may have and say, let's see who has a bowhead reach. You can go there on the map and see that they have that and go click on them and maybe message them and say, hey, do you want to go for a ride? I'm going to be in the Utah area in a few weeks.
And that's my favorite story about the member map, is when one of our former coworkers he was living in his van and driving through the country, and he was driving past Ohio, and he went on the Active Project. He messaged someone that says that they are a mountain biker, and he said, hey, I have my mountain bike. I don't know Ohio. Will you show me around the adaptive mountain bike trails in Ohio? And he found them right on the Active Project, and they went biking together.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Moving forward,
I just went to the Kelly Brush mountain biking camp in Vermont and tried the Bowhead Reach, and it was phenomenal. I also my first adaptive sports camp was with the Kelly Brush, and I went to the Hartford Ski Spectacular in Colorado, and that was also amazing. But I love the camps because they again about community, but it's a you know. If you, virtual is an awesome opportunity to stay at home, and but also the camps you get to meet people and just talk about random tips and tricks, and just the informal knowledge sharing that you get at camps is like at no other. So and then you make new friends and you stay connected through the active project or Instagram or Facebook, and it's just a great way to have that community and like to share the lived experience, and just know that you're not alone, and then also are able to find that community through this shared experience and shared passion, through whatever sport you're in.
And Diane, what was it like traveling outside of your Northeast little corner to go to a camp? Did that test your confidence, test your pride, how'd that feel?
Yes, actually, so I think the ski spectacular was the first long trip I did by myself, and so that was like a week-long trip. It definitely tested my confidence, and just like allowed me to push my limits and challenge myself in that way. And I knew that going to a camp like this, there would be other people that are kind of in the same kind of just having that same challenges and same difficulties that the disability brings. So that alone made me feel comfortable to do that and to push those limits. I knew there would be people from Cali Brush, like Amy was there, so I had already talked to her beforehand and was just like, if I need a hand in the chance, like I think I can do everything by myself, but I might need a hand doing X, Y, and Z. And I knew she was, there to support me and give me that extra hand if I needed it. And then just like you're talking to other people, and they're doing the same thing by themselves, but then you can, vent and share and laugh about your random challenges or random oopsies. And so it was, and then after that, I traveled a bunch more by myself because I got that confidence, and proved to myself that I could do it. Like it's of like anything, it's a challenge, but it becomes worth it, and you prove to yourself that you can do it.
I'd like to ask Andy kind of the same question because you mentioned you've traveled the world and staying active since your injury. How is that experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's depending on where you go, it's sometimes it's a lot more of an experience than other times. I would say I'll answer your question, but let me, I was gonna add on to what Diane was saying.
Yeah,
Anyways,
please.
I think people in general, but especially people with disabilities, especially when you're newly injured, but I think this is ongoing, really strive, and this isn't scientific, it's just experiential for me, really strive for two things: is like one, to maximize their independence, and two, to be able to live the highest quality of life possible. And I think by participating in a lot of these activities, and whether it's a camp through the active project or getting involved with the sport or whatever, it's going to put you in contact with some of the most independent people living with their disabilities that are living some of the highest quality lives out there, and some of the highest functioning people. And not talking about like what their physical function is, but like functioning at the highest level for, given what their disability and their function is. And so it puts you into this amazing resource group. And that certainly pushed me to explore and get outside my comfort zone. I've done a month-long trip to Africa doing safaris, and we went paragliding, and I went cage diving with great white sharks. And some of that stuff is, I mean, cage diving, you basically just fall off the boat into the cage, and that's pretty easy. The safari can be a little bit more challenging because you're out in the middle of nowhere and pushing through the brush, and hopefully you're not the last one in the pack that gets eaten by the lion. But I've traveled down to South America like 5 times for various rugby and outreach things, and you just get comfortable with, not everywhere in the world has ADA laws, and so you just get comfortable with just rolling with it, and understanding just how to make do under challenging circumstances. And I think it definitely, like, those experiences definitely help when you're, back here living in your comfortable life, and something goes wrong. And I always tell people, like, one of the most important things that you can have to succeed, I think, in life in general, but definitely living with a disability, is mindset. And being able to maintain that mindset when things get tough, or when you're at your worst, or whatever. And so I think being able to have the experiences and the support network and things like that really helps strengthen that mindset to, help you persevere so you can live that high quality life.
Yeah, Andy, I think you said that so nicely. Having the support system is huge. And I think this map, this active project in general, is just there for people are ready to give support and they want to recreate together. This is a very strong active community that we've created. And it's really nice to see people all over the country willing to meet some random stranger and do something so fun together. There's so many awesome ways to be active and live a quality life. And it's really nice the way that you said that, because it's cool to see connections happen so seamlessly, and people just really genuinely kind and willing to put themselves out there to allow someone else to receive that kind of happiness and joy from recreation.
So on this map, all of the blue little houses there are programs staffed by people that their job is to help. The orange things are events. So those are events that are planned for folks with disabilities to do sports. And all of the yellow heads there are users. Users are folks with disabilities. Users are also perhaps rehab professionals, perhaps adaptive sports professionals, people with and without disabilities, and their profiles are customized to let them know what they are. So there's just, in a world that can feel kind of sometimes isolating, that adaptive sports are the outlet to be able to connect you with the people, the places, and the experiences that can take you out of your comfort zone and open up your world.
Honestly, like I said, I was speaking to this person on Friday, and not that I want this webinar to end by any means, but I can't wait to share this with her. You guys were on my list for her anyway, but this is the community that she was looking for. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, it's awesome to kind of expand that and share that with others, just that might not know about it. So if you originally, or if you're newer to an injury level, it's a great platform to kind of learn about it and just get a little exposure to it. But also for individuals that are, higher level athletes and really active on their daily basis, it's great for them to be on there as well, being a mentor to others in the community and really serving that purpose for what you've worked so hard for is so rewarding to so many.
And then one more feature on the active project that I think is really great. So we talk about, so this map is full of people that are already connected with adaptive sports. Let's say you're like, okay, fine, but I have people in my community that I want to help me. I want my mom to go out and bike with me. mom doesn't know anything about spinal cord injuries. Mom did not go to, school to do this. Mom's not an adaptive sports professional. What does mom need to know to be a successful recreation partner
That's
for me?
amazing.
So, an occupational therapy doctorate student created this platform. So, the goal is for either your loved ones to be able to learn what do I need to know, or let's say it's a volunteer in an adaptive sports organization that just wants to be helpful. What are the tools that they will need to be a successful recreation partner for you? So it has those
And I think
resources.
she highlighted it really well with just some lived experiences as well. You can click over on the side. We have community members that have shared their story on how they like to receive help and how they really kind of navigated those situations with loved ones, helping them into recreation, which is so key. And as everyone's so different in the way that they really like to receive care, it's nice to kind of watch some of these videos below to just see different perspectives and different tips and suggestions that they would like to share with us. Last but not least, we have a classifieds on here, which you can sell and buy adaptive equipment. And so if anyone has adaptive equipment that they want to get out of their garage and make room for something new, you can put it up here. And there's 22 listings on here, as it's a newer feature on the Active project, but it's really nice to kind of share that equipment that you don't use anymore with the community. So that is on here, and you can list it and share with everybody.
That's phenomenal to know, because we do sometimes get questions from our community asking, they want to donate, maybe a loved one had passed and they want to donate and we're not always sure what to do with it. Are there any parameters around what is listed and what isn't listed?
We will approve the piece of equipment to list it on the site. So it goes through KBF staff to go through that approval process. But if it's an adaptive equipment piece and it works, it can also, it's a classifieds page. There can be things that are up that may need some work. It's not brand new equipment. So post it and we'll go through the approval process.
So if folks want to post it directly, it's kind of like a Craigslist type situation, so they can post it. If folks want to donate their equipment to us and have the proceeds go back to KBF or something like that, we have a process for that. So just reach out to us if a loved one wants to donate or anything.
Wonderful. I'm just going to go back to the homepage. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes. If you guys have any questions, we're happy to answer any additional questions. Or if you'd like me to show you any other features, I can go to different support pages, etc.
While we're waiting to see if there are any questions coming in, I'd love to ask both Dianne and Andy what gave you guys that spark to find the confidence to start your sport? I know, Andy, you somehow saw the documentary before you were even injured, so maybe it was just already in your soul somewhere. But what gave you guys both that confidence to get out there when you'd already gone through this life-changing event, and what allowed you to make that first wheel step?
You want to start, Dianne?
I think for me it was just at first to an opportunity to get stronger and using sport to as another mechanism of therapy. And then it kind of slowly developed into really something I enjoyed doing, per se. And then I think it just getting into nature, skiing and seeing the views and just appreciating that I could still get outside and witness the beauty that nature creates. That really sold me, and then I fell in love with just the actual activity of it. And then I think from there it was it never kind of like stopped giving. Like it was a way to get stronger at first, and then a way to get outdoors and be in nature and experience nature, and then it was finding the community and the friendships and the connection. So I feel like it never really stops giving, and um I don't know, like every piece of it is something now I enjoy.
And would you guys have considered yourselves athletes before your injury?
Yeah, I was very active before my injury, so I think it was and I think that's maybe why it was like kind of like a slow sell, and I think that's common too for, you picture yourself doing the activity like it was before your injury. So once you first get on a piece of equipment, if you're an athlete before, it's like, well, this is not the same. Like this is doesn't compare at all. And I think that's similar how it was for me. I was a big athlete. I played lacrosse in college, and then really got into running after. And but I think that's why I actually, some of my favorite sports I do now are not sports that I did before my injury. So now I sail and I cross country ski and I play rugby. I didn't do all three of those sports before my injury. So I think it's finding like, because, and I tried lacrosse because I was a lacrosse player in college, but it just didn't compare,
Mhm.
and I biked before my injury, but I wasn't like a huge biker. So I feel like that was something that I could also easily pick up because it's a new experience. Like it's
Mhm.
completely different than it was before your injury. So I think going into a sport that you've never done before, is like, okay, well, I can kind of like start new. There is no comparison because I never did it before my injury. That doesn't mean that like you can't do the same sport and fully enjoy it, but it is different. And that's something that you have to kind of accept and kind of wrap your head around. And there's a change in mindset. But that's why I think I love rugby, is because it's a brand new sport, but it also it's like similar to a team sport like lacrosse, or you're still on a team, you're still working with your teammates, traveling, and forming those connections, but it's a new sport. So there's still a lot to learn, and there's not like the comparison piece for me.
And that's a narrative that I hear often about it's not the same sport and it is so, so different. Like someone like Kelly, she's from a skiing family. I don't think her family would even let her not ski anymore. So of course she had to ski, but someone who was injured in a very similar way, of like a week apart from Kelly, said that she tried adaptive skiing once and it could not compare. And now she's on the US women's sled hockey team. So that's a sport she never played hockey beforehand. So kind of similar to Dianne. It's just it just felt so different. But and so the new experience really opened her up to it. And so taking the time on the Active Project to explore the events page or not the events, the sports pages, maybe there's something out there you didn't even know you'd be interested in.
Yeah, this has been my experience too. I was a swimmer and water polo player growing up, but I also was way into skiing and rock climbing and mountaineering. And when I broke my neck, nobody who knew me was really surprised that I broke my neck. They were all just surprised that I did it crossing the street and not climbing or something like that. I think maybe I was always the type of person that dove into the pool and then asked how deep the water was. I like to call it an adrenaline junkie. I think probably my parents would call it risk taker. So when I got hurt, yeah, I was, trying to throw myself into as many stuff as possible. And I think like Dianne, like Amy, like you said, there's not always a one-to-one translation between the thing that you loved before you got hurt and the adaptive version of it or what, after I got hurt, everyone was like, oh, you were a rock climber, you should try adaptive climbing. And to me, I think everyone's experience is different. For me, the stuff that I loved about climbing, I just wasn't feeling that trying to do adaptive climbing. So it's not always a one-to-one like that. To me, it's about like, how did the thing that you were doing, like, how did it make you feel? What were you getting out of it? For me, it was like the adrenaline and being in nature and just in the rush from doing it and whatever. And so it's not like, I need to, make adaptive climbing make me feel like the way climbing was. It was like, think about how that stuff made you feel and find the thing that can draw those same emotion and same energy, out of you. And that's the thing that you're going to fall in love with. And for me, like smashing into other wheelchairs was like the closest I could get to some of those feelings. And so, yeah, just I'd say, think about the feeling as opposed to the activity, and find that thing that meets you there, and you'll find your fulfillment.
Yeah, I just want to add to that too. I think as Diane, you've done so many sports, and it seems Andy, you've done just as many. I think it adds to the value of just trying something new and really putting yourself out there to explore the options, because you never know how much you're going to like something until you really put yourself out there, try the new equipment. It's adaptive equipment can be so different for each sport. So it's nice to kind of see what fits best for you, what your needs meet, and go from there. Working with Diane in several different sports, it's so cool to kind of see the setup that you've created for yourself and what you find works best. And then, going out and having like an awesome day together. But really just like taking that time and finding that setup and putting yourself into a situation in a safe environment. Has been key. And I think, finding those programs and finding those events to start off is so valuable to really just set yourself up for success. And I think Andy and Diane, thanks for sharing that so well.
Yeah, and that reminds me to say also, Megan, like the setup of the equipment is so important, and um everyone's so different. So I think that's what why camps are so great, because or just going to an adaptive program that has the experience and the knowledge to and the equipment options that are right for you, because you hop on a bike and that might be not the right fit, or you might need a lot of adjustments. So you need someone that knows the bike or knows whatever piece of equipment is on to add the foam or add the cushion here or adjust this piece to make it fit your body. And that was something that also is, for me, was like a hard kind of thing to I don't know if there's like accept or just adapt to, because it's not like you just can quickly pick it up and like try the sport. There's a lot of time it takes to get the adjustments, and it's all about the equipment and the right fit of the equipment. So the first time might be like 75% of the time of your first time experiencing the sport might be just setting up the equipment, and you get like 10 minutes actually doing it. So keep it up and keep doing it multiple times, and go to a program that, has the knowledge on how to set you up and how to make the adjustments to fit your body, so you're able to then actually try the sport successfully, and takes the time to make that all those adjustments and setup, and isn't just like rushed through that, because that makes a huge difference. And then it takes patience on your part too, to just then one go back, but then just trust that it's gonna all be worth it, and the setup's a really important piece of it.
Amazing. Well, with that, I really just want to close out by saying thank you to our friends at Kelly Brush, Dianne, Andy for sharing your stories, and our friends at Help Hope Live behind the scenes that helped put this all together. It's been a long time coming, and we really appreciate you guys sharing your resources and your knowledge and your stories. And we just encourage everyone to go out and find a way to have some fun. Find a community. They're making it very easy for you to find that community now. They provide grants, they provide the scholarships. Help Hope Live can help with the fundraising aspect for those pieces of equipment and beyond as well. We are all here to try to help you experience life and experience that activity a little bit better. So thank you guys for joining us today. This will live on our YouTube page, so feel free to share and watch again and reach out to us if you need anything. Again, my name is Sunny Mullen, and thank you guys so much for joining us today. Please keep an eye out for our next Hope Talk, probably coming in early 2026. All right, guys. Thank you, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.